I'm David Ceri-Jones. I'm a reader in Welsh and Atlantic history here at Aberystwyth University. The idea really to do more research on George Whitefield has really grown out of initial work on my PhD 15 or so years ago when I did some research on kind of the Welsh Methodist revival. And what that work kind of showed was that very little work had really been done on George Whitefield. Plenty of biographies have been published, but most of them tended to be hero worshipping, written by those who wanted to claim him for their own cause in the present day. So very little work had actually been done on his manuscripts. The biggest discovery so far with the letters has been really the sheer amount of them we've uncovered. We're looking at the moment at about close to 3,000 items of correspondence. The biggest discovery really has been 70 letters between Whitefield and a chap called Eleazar Wheelock, who is the founder of Dartmouth College, an Ivy League college in the United States at the present time, concerning the establishment of that college in the 1760s. So a lot of those letters have never been published before, and so they'll form an important part of the archive. And there's an interesting story really to be written up around that, as the links, the positive links between Britain and America, really on the cusp of the American Revolution just a few years later as well. I think he's a very important figure in terms of his place within the British Atlantic world in the middle of the 18th century. I think he's an incredibly difficult person to understand, and his legacy has been fought over so much by various groups, both within the church and outside, since his death. So getting to the real Whitefield is very, very difficult because of the overlay of hagiography really that's taken place since his death. So part of my aim is to try and peel back the layers of that literature and really to get back to the real Whitefield that lays somewhere underneath all of that, all of the hundreds of years really of work that's been done. I think the letters have a number of important contributions to make. They're not just about Whitefield and not just about the evangelical revival or the evangelical movement, although of course they say a lot about that and will be of primary interest to people who work in that field, and current day Anglicans, evangelicals, Methodists who are very interested in the origins of the movements to which they belong. So obviously there is a relevance of the letters there. But I think more than that, the letters cast real light on the workings, the internal dynamics of the British Atlantic world in the middle of the 18th century, and on relations between Britain and America at the same time. And Whitefield both acted as an agent of drawing together Britain and America under this umbrella of the evangelical revival, but also gave important support to the revolutionists as he travelled up and down the eastern seaboard of the American colonies, linking together the 13 separate colonies into a coherent movement called the Great Awakening. And that was one of the first times really that those 13 separate colonies began to act together in a common way. And for that reason, Whitefield's been looked upon really as one perhaps of the founding fathers of the American nation.